a sweet potato pie. Even the keenest taste buds will tell you the best food on the planet. Large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. So get to Henry's at 5431 Indian Head Highway, Oxon Hill, Maryland, or give us a call at 301-749-6856.
Soul food. Henry's soul food. What do you need? Soul food. Henry's soul food.
Welcome to the Armstrong Williams Show, brought to you by Golden Crust Bakery, the fastest growing Caribbean-owned franchise in the United States. Golden Crust is committed to the delivery of quality food and excellent customer service. Visit them today at goldencrustbakery.com.
Yes.
Hello, T.
Hi, sweetie. How you doing?
How you doing? I know we're not on the air yet. Alex just hit the button a minute early, but I guess it's okay to be early. How you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Happy Wednesday to
Well,
you.
you know, we may be live. Oh, you did do it right.
I told you.
Oh, we are live. He did the right thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Yay.
I'm sorry. Oh, my goodness. Let me give him some credit. Hello, Maxie.
Hey, Armstrong, how you doing?
Oh, got two of my favorite girls on the air today. Two of my favorite girls. I don't know how to act. I don't know how to behave.
Oh, yes, you do.
No, I don't. Listen, I was about to give Alex a hard time, but he did the right thing.
Yay.
I asked because I would not have been able to hear your voices if we were not live.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So how are things where you are? Let's start you, Maxie. How are things? What are the people talking about? What are they talking about?
Things are going great. I was helping my mom over the last 3 weeks get a knee replacement. So that was been taking up a lot of my time. But I think things are going okay in terms of the government shutdown. I was shocked that the market went up and gold went down because nobody really cares.
Nobody really cares. Do you care, TT?
No, not at all.
Why don't we
Not
care?
today.
What do we expect from these adolescents? All of them. What do we expect?
Well, I hope that they're not
you
learning from the example about this government shutdown. I hope they're not learning from that in terms of when you don't come to some kind of resolution and how it impacts people, how it impacts people's ability to go shopping for groceries, how paychecks can be delayed, and how bills may not get paid. So I hope that they're not learning from that. But I am hoping that the adolescents are learning that you really have to have constructive collaborations, and sometimes you have to agree to disagree and move things along despite what your political affiliations are.
You know, I need to ask both of you something. I'm hoping the answer is yes. I won't be surprised if you haven't. Has either of you seen the video of the SUV and the cyclist?
Oh, yes, I have.
Have you, T?
I've not, but I've gotten 3 text messages that I need to.
Let me go to Max. I am trying to figure out. Have you seen it, Alex? I am trying to figure out who was wrong.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I've been trying to figure that out too, but I think, number one, the guy was scared when the cyclist
He was scared to death.
Yeah, and so, I mean, he had a baby. He's only in his early 30s. He's got a baby and a wife. He's probably thinking, like, this is a gang. They're going to kill me. They want to carjack me. I mean, who knows?
But I think it was nervousness where he backed over one of the cyclists and then trying to go forward, he hit another. Yep. I just, I've never seen anything like that. I was torn by it. And, the cyclists are being blamed. And then you see him smashing out his windows once they caught him in traffic downtown.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, T, you got to see this. You just got to see it. To me, I understood the cyclist was angry because some of their colleagues were severely injured, but the driver of the SUV was obviously immature, and I'm going to say immature, and did not know what to do. He was scared to death.
Yeah. Was it the middle of the day, though? That's what I couldn't
It was
figure
on
out.
Sunday, and Sunday in the afternoon, and he had his wife. Imagine a young wife and a young infant. He thought his family was going to die.
I know.
So, Maxie, explain to T and others who have not seen the video exactly what unfolded.
Well, what happens is, and I've seen a couple different kind of pieces of it. The guy's driving along, and there was a cyclist with one of those Go cameras like you and I saw at the NAB, those ones you put on a lot of people use them for skiing or riding or whatever. And so, he's probably out there thinking, oh, we're on a nice drive, and he's filming it. But what happens is, as the car goes by, he feels like I assume, this is my interpretation, that he's being swarmed by these cyclists, so he swerves to the left. Then they start speeding up, and then the part that was weird was when he runs over the two, motorcyclists, it obviously looks like he's trying to get away from the cyclists.
Wow.
And then the weird part is when they show clearly the guy coming with his helmet and beating the living you-know-what out of the window, which blew my mind that a Range Rover's window breaks so easily. That's all it takes. I couldn't believe that. And it was so weird that, obviously they had rage that he had run over their friends or his colleagues or whatever they were. I still don't know if they were out just on a cyclist group. You see these cyclists, they do it all over everywhere. I've seen them when I'm driving around. They ride on weekends to look at stuff.
But here's the thing. The driver of the SUV literally backs over a cyclist. Because let me tell you what happens here. It's not as if how it is when you're trying to get back out or maneuver your vehicle. Let's say you parallel park, you're just trying to maneuver to get out so you can get into your springboard. But what happened was he was surrounded by these cyclists. And there is no question in my mind, he made a fatal decision, thinking that his life was in danger. He literally just backed over him and then drove in front of him and just pulled out and started streaking along in his vehicle to get away. And there's no way he was going to outrun them, but there's no question he had to know that what was behind him and what was in front of him, because they had him surrounded, were these cyclists. So he made a decision that he was going to use his truck as a weapon, and he did. It became a weapon, T.
Wow. The thing that's alarming about this whole scenario is it sounds like all parties needed to have some coping mechanisms or utilize their emotional intelligence a little more effectively to handle the situation from what you guys are describing. It does not settle well that someone would be forced or have the presumption that they're forced into using their vehicle as a weapon to harm another person, and it doesn't sound like the cyclist intentionally came out to, okay, we're going to take our helmet and go after someone that's that harmed one of our friends. So it just really sounds like neither party, from just listening to what you guys have just described, really exercise their emotional intelligence well.
I actually believe this. I don't know, Max, and challenge me, and this is a gut feeling. I actually believe that the cyclist, the driver of the SUV, when he hit the first person, backed over him, he should have immediately stopped and jumped out of the vehicle and shown remorse and compassion. I'm sorry. I don't think any of the bikers would have attacked him. Maxie?
Yeah, I don't know what the speed limit was or what speed they were traveling, but I do know that what I think should have happened, which is a little different than your scenario, is, especially since it's during the day, I think you just pull over to the side gently and don't get out of the car and let them pass by.
That's what he should have done.
Before all this happened. He obviously panicked, raced down the road trying to get away. They raced after him, and then the situation occurred.
And one guy's both legs are paralyzed. His back is broken. he will be paralyzed for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I think I've read a few articles on it. I think they said it could be. I don't think 100% yet, but you're right. I mean, the beating is he's in a coma.
And you know
what the sad part about it is, all of this impacts all the parties that was involved negatively.
Yes.
You know, the interesting thing though is it was such a human tragedy. I mean, it was just so.
But Armstrong, you know what is sad? And I'm looking now at this article while we're here. I'm just telling you, the bikers paint their faces with skeleton skull paint.
Oh no!
White, and they put these black lines on it to look like a skeleton. It's not just simple people riding along on an afternoon.
Oh.
And it says clearly in the reporting in a couple of the articles that what they do is throughout the summer they swarm this part of the highway because it's funny, and they don't beat people up, but cops don't want to touch them because they can flee. It becomes more dangerous. They can hit pedestrians. This specific ride was headed to Times Square, and it was turned away.
Interesting. Now, if you look up and someone has that kind of paint on their face, that's a frightening scene. You start thinking about movies. You start thinking about horror stories. You start thinking about SNAP and investigative ID and things that happen. You can really get paranoid. And
the guy and his wife were Asian. I don't know if that means anything or matters. I don't know if he felt he was targeted, but I think his windows were darkened. I really, it's
that's even worse for them. They didn't know what to do. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. Yeah. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. You can follow it and look at it.
Say bye-bye burgers, pass on the pizza, forget the francs. Anytime is party time. Discover Golden Crust's authentic Jamaican-style patties. Beef, chicken, vegetables, soya, spinach, and shrimp. Feast on our great taste sensations. Jerk chicken, oxtail, sliced fish, and much more. Savor the taste of the Caribbean. Only at a Golden Crust near you. A family tradition since 1949. GoldenCrustBakery.com.
For more information on the Armstrong-Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong-Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams. What does it mean to be conservative? Freedom of speech, freedom of free enterprise, freedom of assembly, less government, less taxes. As a matter of fact, a flat tax. Everyone should pay proportional tax. It doesn't matter whether you make 100 million or 10,000. Everyone should pay their 10%. Everyone should have something at stake in this American economy. I'm Armstrong Williams, expressing what we mean by conservative traditional value.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
America must change course if we hope to survive and save the American dream for our children and grandchildren. How do we fix Social Security and Medicare? How do we cut government spending? How do we reform health care? How do we simplify the tax code? The Heritage Foundation has a bold plan that tackles these tough problems using common sense solutions that leave partisan politics on the sidelines. Find out how we can save the American dream at savingthedream.org, paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams with an opportunity to own a piece of paradise in Nassau, Bahamas. Spectacular land prizes, 8,000 square feet, 20,000 square feet lot, affordable prices, hilltop properties with views of the magnificent sea. Just call 242-677-3120 or 3121 or go to info@rightsidewire.com and leave your information.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
And welcome back to the broadcast. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, we live in such fear in the world. But Max, if you looked at those videos, it looked like there was a swarm of bees around that SUV. They swarmed them.
Kmart or Home Depot or things, and they would steal all those goods. And they shatter people, so people they get confused, so they don't know where to go. Although these people weren't trying to take anything. I think they do it just to be funny or something. It's very strange.
But people are different. Not everyone can handle that, T.
No, not at all. As I'm looking through, reading some of the reports that's out there, I think Maxine described it best with it was a very intimidating situation with the mask. So I can't imagine how I would have even responded in that. It's just very unfortunate.
You know what? It's a frightening situation. It has my attention because they should have known that their tactics were intimidating and very frightening for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
The best of us. Listen, I'm just glad if the driver of the SUV had a machine gun, he would have started firing it, Maxie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I think that's why the police didn't press charges against him because, you know, he said he was protecting his family.
Yeah, you know, and I think it also goes to another conversation about anger and how if we need to have more dialogue about what do we do with anger, how do we control anger before it controls us, because we know anger is healthy, it's a natural human emotion, but when it's out of control and it becomes destructive, or if you feel intimidated, we need to understand how to cope with it and how we can process what to do when it really just becomes powerful emotion and unpredictable with our actions.
One of the most important things about the video that we didn't tell you about, T, if this guy wasn't sure what their intentions were, when they finally got him in a place where he stopped, one of the guys jumped off his back and tried to pull the side door open where the baby was. And he swirled off and the door shut on its own. That happened.
Yeah.
So he knew they were trying to harm him. After that.
Yeah. And how do these people in their rage not harm the baby and the wife? People don't discriminate, per se, during a rageful fit. You know, they were so upset or angry that he had run over their friend's legs or whatever, their friend and the other friend. And I think, I don't know, the whole thing, I just think it's better, like what T was saying, too. You just have to gather yourself and try to use a nonviolent method, which would have been the beginning. Again, we only see the part where, you know, what you're talking about, Armstrong, but in the beginning he could have pulled, when you see the swarm, just pull over and maybe let them pass by. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but listen, the way he took his helmet and knocked that window in and crashed it in, and both of them were bad.
I couldn't
get it. No, I'm sorry. If I were a jury, I would certainly have favored the.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, there's no question.
I agree.
Yeah.
But it's still, and I thank you, Armstrong, for having this conversation, having this dialogue today, because it still addresses how do you diffuse anger and rage in difficult situations.
Yeah, but you know, it's one thing when you're surrounded by about 20 or 30 people, and there's just you and your wife and baby. To me, that's a declaration of war.
Especially when you're outnumbered by 50 cyclists.
And you know what the image of cyclists are. Go ahead, Alex, what you were going to say, because you just watched it.
Especially after you're in a car with your wife and kid, and you're surrounded by 50 angry cyclists. And they followed this guy for at least 2 miles on the highway. And then they got off, and he tried to escape on the service roads, and that's when he got stuck.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and when he got stuck at a light, that's when all the bikers jumped off and started banging on the windows. So, it to diffuse anger like that, I mean, the cyclist was at fault to begin with because he slowed down on the highway. In the video, it's not clear as to why he just started slowing down in front of this SUV.
And maybe his wife was telling him to. Maybe somebody was talking to him. Maybe he was on the phone. Maybe he was seeking help. I don't know if he was calling the police. I don't know. We don't know what was going on.
I'm sure he was screaming. I'm sure they were screaming.
Oh,
You know?
But it was terrible. It was just terrible.
Yeah.
And you know what? They should do something about cyclists traveling together like that in a band on any public highway. I'm sorry.
Well,
yeah, they should. They should ban it or whatever.
In New York, you're not supposed to have large groups of cyclists traveling the streets like that without actual, I guess it would be a permit. Or
and they didn't have one.
It was just a mass of cyclists going up and down the street. I know in Manhattan, so it's a sort of a summer pastime. You go stand out in the corner and you'll see people whizzing up and down the streets and cop cars chasing them almost every day in the summer. So it's definitely an illegal practice.
It is. I read that in my articles that I was reading about it.
Yeah, it's really, you know what? To me, it's really unfortunate.
And they said they run. See, you would say, why can't they take photographs of these? Like this video was taken by them, but the police could drive by. They could take photographs. Motorists could, but guess what? They ride unregistered bikes. They don't have license plates, and like Alex was saying, they swarm in these groups, and so that's what happens.
Yeah, it's really, I got to tell you something. It really left a bad taste in my mouth, I have to tell you. Because I would never, imagine T, you and I riding together, Maxie, the three of us, and something like that happened to us. We flip out, but one of us would say, just stop. And you would try to jump out and reason with them. I know you, T. That's what you would do.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely, that's what you would do.
Well, it brings up a point, and I'd love to know what T thinks, too, on this, but it brings up that point of lots of places in America, usually on the coastlines, cities and things, have these gangs. And what these gangs do for these initiations is they put a baby seat with a blanket over it, and they leave it in the road at night. And then a unsuspecting woman, like myself or anyone, comes by and says, "Oh my God, look at that! Did someone leave a baby in the road?" Then you go. These are written down on site by the police. These are not things I'm making up or urban legends. These are facts. Then there's all these things like that, and it's, it brings all that up because people are fearful. Women especially are fearful of these types of things. I am. I know I live in an urban city where gangs are rampant, and this stuff goes on a lot, and you have to be always reading the websites and wary and just be aware.
I got to tell you something.
Yeah, but you know what, Maxie? I think it goes back to, you're right, Armstrong. I would want to rationalize. I found that it's always effective to rationalize with people when you help them to be in your advantage point. You agree and you hear them and you acknowledge that you understand their vantage point, but you immediately turn it over so that they can kind of see your perspective. And oftentimes you can have that paradigm shift that, wait a minute, okay, this doesn't have to go completely volatile. This doesn't have to get violent, and it doesn't have to be the worst possible scenario. So that's a coping mechanism that I wish, or it's a empathy technique, if you will, to understanding people despite whatever the situation is or the diversity. And even with gangs and areas that swamp with a lot of crime, sometimes you can take a moment and you can really talk a person down or off of whatever it is that they're doing by, offering, okay, I acknowledge that things are kind of whatever it is with them, and then just for a moment, can you see this from my perspective? So how can we move on? And you'll be surprised with the results. And then there are some times that some folks are just crazy. As crazy is, as crazy does, and that technique may not work, but oftentimes the technique works.
No, I also want to mention that one of my favorite authors died. The Hunt for Red October, Patriot Games. Tom Clancy died today at a Baltimore hospital at the age of 66.
I saw that too. I know.
Yes, I guess that's the fate of all of us, right?
Mm-hmm. We're all headed to one place.
All right.
That's right.
And
so you have to know what the pulse of your purpose is and do the best with what you can while you are able to.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's the thing that kills me, knowing that you only have this precious gift once. The reckless things that people do to jeopardize it, and people committing suicide. I just wonder sometimes when people really realize what they've actually done, do they wish they could take it back? Because I don't think sometimes they realize just how precious life is.
Yep, I agree with that.
They just don't understand it, T. 1-866-801-8255. I see feedback is visiting us again. Do you hear old feedback?
Yeah, I hear old feedback in the background.
About to sing to us, right?
Yeah, something spiritual.
Something spiritual. T, have you made the official move to the city of Angels?
Almost. I'm headed out to go to Pennsylvania, and then to New York, and then to D.C. and Chicago. So after I do my little week of traveling, or 10 days of traveling, I think I'll be all set to come and make it official.
Yeah. Max and T is moving to the nation's capital.
Wow.
Yay.
When you said City of Angels, I thought you meant Los Angeles.
Oh, no, we're the City of Angels. They're the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And all their Los Angeles are coming here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm excited to be a change agent. I'm excited to just see how all of the things that I advocate for can be advocated in a positive manner, and I just consider myself the little internet could. I just have a willingness to allow my purpose to exceed me and go before me wherever it is that I land.
Well, that's a big move for you, though. We'll be back. Don't go away. We'll be back. T and Maxie, and sometimes Alex.
Armstrong Williams returns in a moment.
Hi, Mike Reagan here. The president has just delayed his Obamacare employee mandate for 1 year. But nothing has changed. The Congressional Budget Office still predicts 7 million Americans will lose their current insurance, and thousands of rules are being implemented today. Obamacare is over 20,000 pages, almost 3 times longer than the whole IRS tax code. Worse, the IRS is now in charge of enforcing the law. You need to protect yourself, your family, and your business with the easy-to-read guide. It's called the Obamacare Survival Guide, already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax calls it the best guide to the new law. Get the Obamacare Survival Guide today at bookstores everywhere, or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Life is full of unexpected changes. Everyone has potential to do wrong. And when they choose to do it, contact the Bucksell Group for your private investigation needs. TheBucksellGroup.com or by phone at 202-243-9746. Whether there's an instance of a cheating spouse, child custody, process service, or security, don't continue suspecting. Get closure so that you can move on with your life. Visit TheBucksellGroup.com now or call 202-243-9746. If you think it's happening, it probably is.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sport shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Most Americans simply have never been taught the basics of money management, let alone how to secure their financial future. But there is hope. Financial Education and Literacy Advisors, also known as FELA, does what others don't. FELA teaches financial education. If you'd like more information about providing a financial wellness program for your employees, or a credit-bearing college course in personal finance, or other valuable programs, please visit myfela.com. That's myfela.com, or send an email to info@myfela.com.
Elder chicks is an exciting part of the fastest growing segment of the population. Women in their 70s, 80s, and older who are mastering the art of a senior life. We're no longer unseen and unheard. We're providing role models for each other and the baby boomers who are fast approaching retirement. Join our virtual community. Hit www.elderchicks.com on your computer keyboard.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
You know, this is a good topic conversation to have with Maxie and with T, because both are over 40. I think that is correct.
Yes.
How difficult?
I'm 29 forever.
Yes, you are. How difficult is it for mature women marrying again someone, and you're so set in your ways? How big of an adjustment is that, and how intimidating a thought is it to think that you're going to marry again? You don't have no kids. Kids are grown, but the thought of marrying again. Obviously, you'd want somebody of the same maturity level as you. You certainly can see yourself marrying somebody in their 20s or early 30s.
I'm going to let you go first, Maxie.
I was going to say the same thing about you. All right, I'll jump right in on that. You know, Armstrong, I don't agree with that last comment you made, because I have dated younger people in my life recently, and I find them sometimes to be more mature than my ex-husband and or some of the people in their 60s or, you know, late 60s, early 70s that I would tend to have dinner with occasionally. So I think it's just, again, the individual, but I will say that I don't see myself getting married ever again.
How much younger?
All righty.
I don't want to share that, Armstrong.
well, let me just say I concur.
I T, go ahead.
Well, you know, it's interesting. It's a unique road, single and 29 forever. I say that oftentimes it does appear that some of the gentlemen that I went on dates with have I have more interest. We have more commonalities than some gentlemen that are also 29 forever. So, am I at a place where I think that I'm ready to jump in and get married to someone right now? The answer is not about to happen. At the same time, I love the flexibility that I have in terms of being able to travel, go do things, without the complications that when you are in marriage that you have to go through. So for me, in terms of my business and my purpose right now, the season is good being single.
How much does marriage change your life for you when you're older?
That's a good question. Yeah. Well, my presumption would be you have to make a lot of concessions. You know, you're both settled in your ways. You know, you both settled in your career directions, and so retirement may be approaching. And you know, how does one want to transition from the season or the lifestyle of busy to okay, we're gonna slow down? There are some people that just constantly remain busy, and there are other people who want to just start winding things down. And so for me, a busy, I just can't see me immediately winding things down just for the sake of retirement is hitting in, the retirement age is hitting in, and or a partner has completed their career and just wants to be settled down. For me, I like the cycle of busy.
Well, let me ask, maybe this is the question that needs to be asked. What must be in that package, that full, complete package of a man, to make you want to give up your career, settle down, and just be at home and just be a doting wife and never have to think about your career again? What must that package represent to you?
Well, she's going to need two planes. She's going to need two planes. One that I can be doing philanthropic work with, and the other to still be maintaining doing the business. If I can't do that, it's not about to happen. The philanthropic work is going to supersede a lot of the other activities that we may have. So if it's someone that has a heart for philanthropic endeavors, then yeah, that could possibly work. But if they don't have that commonality, it's not going to work for T.
Maxie?
I think that I've always been independent, and in my marriage, I was independent, and I find that when you date these older men, they want just what you're talking about, Armstrong. They want you to move right in and, dote on them and jump onto their path, make everything be about what they're interested in. I'm thinking of one man in particular who had a whole program, and he's about to be married for either the fourth or I think fifth time to a 38-year-old woman who's never been married. But again, she just jumps right in and does exactly what he says. He says jump, she says how high. That just doesn't interest me.
So let's hear your perceptions as a male, Armstrong. What do you think happens with independent women, 29 forever, when it comes to marriage at that point?
You know what? I think the most important thing is that you don't try to change each other. I think you see it more as a collaboration and as an elevation. It's not a need, it's a want. It's a choice you made. You're not married because you need it in your life. You choose to have it in your life. It's a choice that you make. I think that at the point when you do it, there should be no issues of insecurity, or jealousy, or even trying to change that person. What you want to do is complement what they're already doing. It's not even necessary that they take on or become a part of the professional person that you are. You're going to always find time where you can do things together, but it's not something that's necessary. It's something that you both should mutually want to do together. And I think you should have little expectations of a grown person except that they're loyal, they're honest, and they add value to you. I think the problem is that what you've got to work out is something that works for you. It doesn't matter whether it works for any of your other friends or how your friends' marriage work. When you deal with two different people, you have to work out the plan and the circumstances that are best for you to make it work. If you like to travel, if you want to go to Nigeria, if you want to go visit your mom and go on a vacation and fail, that should not be an issue. You should encourage that and be the biggest cheerleader. At this point, you don't want to be, because I think what you find is when you expect little, the person, obviously, just it's a natural occurrence, they give you much more.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think there's another component. I agree with that, what you just said, and I think another component goes to jumping into marriage. You really have to understand a person's love language. You have to know what works for them. If it's quality time, if it's touch, if it's words of affirmation, if it's giving, whatever is going to help cultivate and stimulate the relationship, you have to take time to really understand what their love language is, so that exactly what you just said can really manifest in you allowing the other person to be their authentic self in their environments that they're indicative of, that the environment that's indicative of them, and you're being your authentic self with them. So complementary love languages, I think, would be good in terms of following through for entertaining marriage.
So at that age, it's more of a complementary than a growing together sort of marriage relationship, you would say.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I would, because I think it's important to, like Armstrong was saying, and T was echoing as well, but it's important to just respect the person for who they are at that point and just be next to them. You don't need to tell them, you got to do this, you got to do that. You just kind of you hang out, and it's a friendship that becomes more, and then if you both decide that's what you want to do, great.
Absolutely. That's why my 2 planes is an easy thing, so we can do the philanthropic things.
And I thought when you said 2 planes, you meant airplanes.
Yeah, 2 airplanes.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, 2 airplanes. Yes, I have containers. What can we take and help somebody else with?
That brings out another point in the conversation. I don't think anyone who's worked hard, especially women over 40, and I think women are more susceptible to this than men. I think you want a professional man. You've not worked so long and so hard to get to who you are today. To deal with some man who's struggling, who has mounting debt, looking for some woman to take care of him. They're lazy. They don't want to get out of bed, and they think the only thing they can do is make love to you, and that's enough. I think women who are looking for that second husband, looking for that next chance, that's the last thing. While that may be important, that's not the most important thing in your life at this point when you're thinking about marriage again.
I have to agree. And again, going back to the love languages, and so in understanding what's going to keep the relationship moving. And I think the next contribution to perhaps having an effective second marriage or second chance is really understanding what your temperament is and what the other person's temperament is, so that you can complement one another, so that you can have the opportunity to have a winning relationship.
And this is the thing, and this is the thing I really want us to get into when we come back. And it's this, Maxie, if you have two mature adults who are not jealous and who really care about each other, who don't have to always be the center of attention, who can sacrifice themselves every now and then, and who are willing to do what's necessary to make the relationship work, I think most relationships can work. And I don't think you necessarily have to have the drama and the challenges that many relationships have. I think people create unnecessary drama and conflict, but I don't think that's what should define relationships, Maxie.
I agree with that, Armstrong. I think you're right, and I think, I can't remember, Dr. Frank Love or whoever you had on a few shows back, I remember listening to him, and he was saying kind of the same thing. It's between two consenting adults. Whatever it is for you, you define that with that partner.
We'll be back. Don't go away. 1-866-801-82. 1-866-620-6620. 1-866-620-6620. T. Maxie, Alex. We'll be back.
Say bye-bye burgers, pass on the pizza, forget the francs. Anytime is party time. Discover Golden Cross's authentic Jamaican-style patties. Beef, chicken, vegetables, soya, spinach, and shrimp. Feast on our great taste sensations. Jerk chicken, oxtail, sliced fish, and much more. Savor the taste of the Caribbean, only at a Golden Cross near you. A family tradition since 1949. GoldenCrossBakery.com.
For more information on The Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
Anderson Brothers Bank, a family-owned and operated establishment that blends traditional personal service, local market awareness, and advanced technology to meet the financial needs of its customers. Visit abbank.com or call 843-464-6271 to see how they can assist you with your banking needs. Anderson Brothers Bank, celebrating 75 years of community banking, the way it should be. Stability right in your backyard since 1933.
America must change course if we hope to survive and save the American dream for our children and grandchildren. How do we fix Social Security and Medicare? How do we cut government spending? How do we reform health care? How do we simplify the tax code? The Heritage Foundation has a bold plan that tackles these tough problems using common sense solutions that leave partisan politics on the sidelines. Find out how we can save the American dream at savingthedream.org, paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sport shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
Does it matter that your spouse or significant other is God-fearing? Would it have an impact if they were agnostic, atheists, and had no desire, any kind of belief in God, Maxie?
Not really for me. They would have to be a caring, compassionate person who shared beliefs that I shared in the way they would treat people, but I don't really need them to be a specific vein of religion or worshiping a certain belief system.
T?
Well, for T, our spiritual and moral compass has to be in line. So that would be very problematic if it didn't agree.
What religion would you want them to be?
Well, I wouldn't dissect it down to religion. Having a spiritual and moral compass and understanding some of the fundamental things that I believe in. And so coming from the things that I believe in, it would have to be shared. So I have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And so if they have one, that's a good start right there.
Right.
And it's good that you know that.
Yeah.
It's good that you know that. Because, listen, I can imagine being involved with someone who had no soul, no spiritual base, no understanding, could care less about right from wrong. Because that just wouldn't work. It would be a non-starter.
Yeah.
Because to me, values and virtues and ethics is all part of character. And character brings about mutual respect. It brings about being sensitive. It brings about being selfish. All those things are important.
Definitely.
Well, I think relationships are there to, improve, to help one improve themselves in terms of interacting with other people. And in order for you to expand, you have to be the master of you. So relationships sometimes challenge one to be the master of them, because sometimes you have people or other relationships, not necessarily partnerships in terms of husband and wife or any other type of partnership, but sometimes you have people in your life that they're there just to be the thorn in your side, and then other occurrences could be that they're there to really compliment you, but you need to enjoy your relationships. You need to enjoy life, and sometimes we need to just take a moment and just take it all in, whatever is going on, positive, good, or indifferent. Sometimes you need to just step back and take a moment and take it all in so that you can take next steps into where any relationship is going.
What do you think makes you a complete person, Maxie?
That's easy. I think what makes me a complete person is joy. I have joy each day when I wake up, and that's along the vein of what you all are talking about. I have a personal relationship with God. I feel that I say hello every day, and I say good night every night, and throughout the day and evening, I spend my time talking to Him, and I also take actions that I think help me to keep that joy flowing, which for me is charity work, helping others. This is what I could not live without.
What completes you, T?
What completes me is just seeing what's possible. We have a short time, and I know that just commissioned to be the best me, and understanding that the impossible and overcoming a lot of different, defying the odds in my own life has been a catalyst to helping me understand purpose and cultivating my own self to have a higher value of people overall, wherever they are in life, whether social or economical, or just to be the best me and be authentic with people, because people understand when you're not authentic. So I take my authenticity with me wherever I'm at, from being in a shanty town somewhere in Africa to going to have dinner at the White House. I bring my authentic self with me wherever I go.
That's great.
I've Gotta Be Me. Remember that song?
Yeah.
No.
Gotta be me.
I gotta be me. I gotta be me. So
What about for yourself, Armstrong? What is it that keeps you going? What keeps you, being a champion for challenging people about current events and challenging heads of states? What keeps you on fire?
It's fueled by people. It's fueled by when you look at the people who have passed along this thing we call life and how they made the world better, finding cures to increase longevity, writing books to empower people to find the best in their lives. People like Mother Teresa and Maya Angelou, through their words through their deeds, bringing people closer to their Creator, to realize that it's not all about materialism. It's what you do for the least among us. Then you realize that you have a mission. And then when God blesses the hand that has been given to you, and you see the favor of God on your life, it humbles you that you've got to take this hand and make the most of it, because not everyone has this hand. And you got to realize when you have something special, you cannot squander it. You can't be selfish with it. You can't be destructive with it, because the more you spread it, those pearls across the water, the more it multiplies for you. So it's pretty simple. I'm just thankful that God blesses me oftentimes when I don't feel I deserve it, but He knows best. He created me. So it serves as an impetus every day. All I need to do is just wake up in the morning. That's the only thing I need from the Lord, is just to wake up.
Well, I thank you for sharing, how your healthy ego is fed. It makes sense why you're so balanced.
Maxie?
I echo that. I agree with that. And I think that's kind of the way I live my life, too, or at least I try to.
Well, you know what? Life is not complicated. It really isn't. What you sow, you're going to reap. Whatever you do is going to come back full circle. Every day is not going to be your best day, but it's not going to be your worst day. But between those two great events, you can find better days. And so just because something happens tomorrow doesn't define that as your season, because as long as you have faith and you look at the challenges of man throughout time, you realize that whatever has happened to man can possibly happen to you, but you also know what you can do in your life and others' lives by striving to be good. And being rewarded is not necessarily with money or materialism or things. It's things that people never realize that you have, that give you peace and give you that comfort and that restless peace, that restful peace in your soul, where you wake up, you cleanse, because you're not worried about whether this is the day somebody's going to come and arrest me, because every day you are striving to be legal, moral, and ethical in whatever you do. And the best thing in life is to be honest. The best way to get to success, the best way to get to the best destination is being honest. It's easy. It's not complicated. It's when you try to do things that defy the law of nature that you compound and make your life not only complex, but sometimes miserable.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree with that.
That's good, Armstrong. That's good. That's really good. I sometimes ponder as we look into the next century how leaders will be most effective. And the thing that makes my heart jump for joy is I think that there's a cycle or a system of just wanting to empower other people, empowering young people, empowering future leaders to do better. And I have that hope that the empowerment will trickle into the next century, and that there will be a lot of positive change that comes off of the facts and the tears and sweat and the labor of a lot of good people, and people which you named as you talked about your healthy ego.
Yeah, so you got to live. Some people come and they never live. Alex has a comment. Alex, you're on the air? Sorry about that.
Hey, no problem. It's Alan. How are you doing?
Alan, how are you?
I'm good. And your guest.
Hi, how you doing? Happy Wednesday.
Yes. How are you all doing too? I tell you, I enjoyed your statement about life isn't complicated, Armstrong, and it really isn't. And coming from a military and a spiritual background, I kind of use that interchangeably. If you're in the military, you're working for the people, and when you're on duty, you're on duty, and when you're not on duty, you're on leave. But everything you do while you're on leave draws right back up to when you're on duty. And spiritually, it's the same way. We're here to serve God. We're here to serve, and everything that we do is to glorify that. So when we are not in that duty and we are just taking a break doing something that we enjoy, that God has blessed us with, as you say, then we should be held accountable to that and understand that we're enjoying our time, but this is still, you have to be accountable for it because it goes right back up to the top, to the Creator. So life isn't complicated. We stay within those parameters. I enjoyed that.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Alan. Okay. T?
Yeah, I have to say ditto, ditto, ditto. That is so true. That sometimes the complications that we have is the insanity that we're in. And we all know what insanity is, doing the same thing, expecting different results. So sometimes when we stop ourselves and we change our own behavior patterns, we can stop the complications and we can cease the drama right where it's at, and we can move into where our purpose is and what God is calling you to do, or what your talents or your gifts are making room for. And when you get to a place where you stop being resistant to that, and or when you get to a place when you say, okay, I only embrace my talents, or I only embrace my talents for this and that, and you get to a place where, you know what, I'm embodying everything that I have. I'm embodying every gift that I have. I'm embodying every talent that I have. And not only am I embodying it for myself, I'm embodying it to help someone else with it.
T, thank you. Maxie, thank you. Alex, thank you. Thank you, callers. Thank you, listeners. Have a blessed day.